Hello, I'm Charles Gitonga, and here is what's coming up for you on this edition of Focus on Africa. It's Friday, the 21st of February. First, we go to Freetown. A social media fitness content creator and TV personality is currently in prison in Sierra Leone, awaiting trial for comments she made about the president and the First Lady. Hawa Hunt, who has dual Sierra Leonean and Canadian citizenship, is accused of insulting President Julius Maada Bio and his wife Fatma Bio in a 25-minute video posted on Facebook in 2023, just as the country was preparing for elections. The video resurfaced and went viral. Last December, more than a year after the post, she was arrested on live television, where she was taking part in the Sierra Leonean reality TV show called House of Stars. Hawa is accused of transmitting insulting messages via a computer system. Prosecutors claim the video incited public disorder and damaged the reputation of the president and his wife. Despite apologizing for her video comments, her case was referred to the High Court for trial, and 2 months on, there's still no start date for that trial, and she's still being held on remand. Her family say they are concerned about her mental health and well-being. Her 3 children live in Canada. I've been speaking to her daughter, Alicia Hunt.
At first, when me and my family saw the, footage of my mom being arrested, we didn't really believe it because, we thought no way could she be arrested for, words she said years ago and apologized for. But after confirming that she had actually been arrested, our hearts just dropped and we were freaking out, trying to figure out how to help her from overseas.
She was arrested during a live show. Were you watching the show or were you looking at clips of the arrest later?
I was looking at clips of the arrest later. After I saw the arrest, I reached out to some of my mom's best friends here in Calgary, some of our very close friends, to try to figure out, first off, if she had actually been arrested, and then just, who do we, contact on our side from the Canadian government to see how we can assist her mom.
And when you started searching for information, what were you told about the charges against her and the reason why she had been arrested?
From the clip in the show, we did discover was that she was arrested for words used against the president and first lady. However, they did take more than a week to actually officially state her charges after her arrest. And from what I understand, they do have a certain amount of time where they do have to officially state charges when they arrest someone. So we were, quite worried about not actually knowing which law she had broken. It was mainly the Canadian Embassy who were able to communicate her charges to me and kind of explain from there. I also did do a lot of research to kind of help us understand this law.
And have the authorities in Sierra Leone been in touch with you at all?
The authorities in Sierra Leone have not been in touch with me at all. The most I've gotten is some public feedback from government officials in Sierra Leone that was posted on Facebook.
And all this while, what was going through your mind concerning these events?
We were really just worried sick for, first off, her safety. There were a lot of malicious rumors going around the internet, and there still are. Sometimes I wake up and I see posts of people saying that my mom's been killed, and it's very scary to see and very scary not knowing that we never know when those rumors are true. So there's definitely been a lot of panic on our side. But now that I have appointed my mom an amazing lawyer, I definitely do feel like I have a lot better control of the situation and less anxiety around it.
Have you been able to make any contact at all with your mother in jail? And what did you learn by speaking or seeing her?
I am able to make contact with my mom through her lawyer. So when he goes to see her, sometimes he's able to video chat me when he's with her, and I'm able to speak with her through that way. Through speaking with her, I've been able to, learn more about the conditions in there.
What about your siblings? How have they been coping with this?
So I do have two siblings. My older brother is 25 years old, and my younger brother is 16 years old. Especially for my 16-year-old little brother, it's definitely not been easy on him. I've spent a lot of time having to comfort him, and especially in regards to people's cruel responses on the media saying that my mom deserves to be killed or deserves to be physically abused. That's really hard for especially a young boy to see about his mom. Our mental health hasn't been doing the best throughout this.
Are you able to tell us how things have changed for you personally over the past couple of months?
When this situation did first start, right after my mother was arrested, I did have to take about a month off of work just because of the anxiety from it all. I was barely able to be out in public without having panic attacks or just genuinely feeling scared. Since then, I have gotten back to work. I've started, hanging out with my friends again, but it did definitely affect me.
Do you have any plans to go to Sierra Leone yourself and follow up on the case more closely?
I have been told that it would put my safety at risk if I did go to Sierra Leone. I do wish I could feel safe traveling to Sierra Leone and help oversee the case, but I just don't feel safe in doing so.
Alicia Hunt, daughter of Hawa Hunt. The organizers of the House of Stars reality TV show issued a plea calling for Hawa Hunt to be forgiven and describing her as a strong woman who came from abroad to support Sierra Leone's dream to promote the country's entertainment and the less privileged. Now, the charges that Hawa Hunt faces come under the Cybersecurity and Crime Act of 2021. But rights advocacy organizations, including Amnesty International, have raised concerns about the law that is being used to prosecute her. Rashid Doumbouya is a human rights lawyer and the executive director of the Christian Lawyers Center, Legal Link. He's also representing Hawa Hunt. He says the law is intended to target serious cybercrime and suppress fraud, but is also being used to criminalize free speech in the country. This all comes after Parliament amended the Public Order Act in 2020, lifting the restraint on press freedoms and free speech, which was hailed as a historic and progressive step. But Mr. Doumbouya says there have been cases of journalists, politicians, and other social media influencers and artists who have been arrested and faced prison terms because of their criticism of state actors and leaders. He says these cases should not fall under the Cybersecurity and Crime Act.
It is the wrong use of the law. We believe the Cybersecurity and Crimes Law was passed or should really suppress fraud, child pornography, terrorism financing, and other serious criminal activities that occur through cyberspace. It is not supposed to be used against activists, artists, politicians, or ordinary citizens that express, their view or dissenting voices against state actors or leaders in the country, and hence the concern from human rights groups.
How often is this law being used on citizens that you believe they are simply expressing their opinions and exercising their freedom of expression?
Many citizens, including activists, social media influencers, artists, have been investigated or even charged under this law due to some of their spoken words, their voice recordings, or in some instances, their social media posts against state actors.
In 2020, Sierra Leone took what many called a progressive step, and that's when the president passed the Independent Media Commission Act. How do these two pieces of legislation differ?
The government then did not only pass this progressive law, this amendment, but it also took a very powerful step when it repealed Part 5 of the Public Order Act of 1965, which criminalizes free speech, libel, and slander. two progressive steps that the government took then that we saluted. And it's unfortunate that we are currently returning again to the criminal libel law era, where citizens, activists, and members of the press are criminally charged for what they say or publish against state actors. So we are saying you've passed a law, you abolished the criminal libel law, which was good, but you are having now another new law, which apparently suggests that nothing much has been done, because it has provisions that still appear to caricature the libel law that existed as far back as 1965 in our country.
So why then do you think that this Independent Media Commission Act, which you're saying is progressive, why do you think it's not being implemented?
So that's the question we are all don't have answers for, because we believe we pass laws to now change our attitudes and behaviors and make us more progressive and democratic in terms of response. So the IMC law exists to, at the very least, give journalists who have acted unprofessionally, a pathway to hear their case before a panel of experts who understand how to deal with them, and to provide recommendations that are civil in nature and which are much more correct in the given circumstances, because you don't need to jail somebody for saying something against you that you don't like or for making publications that you don't like. You can have civil remedies, adequate and appropriate in those circumstances. For example, the IMC can order a retraction, a public apology, and in some instances, a fine or damages.
Do you think this aspect of social media is sort of presenting a new challenge in terms of putting content creators at increased risks, and also in terms of governments getting more heavy-handed in their responses? And I'm asking you because we've seen such cases happening in other countries as well. It's not just in Sierra Leone where people are getting arrested and punished for something they said about the government and posted on social media.
Governments should first of all understand that the social media is here to stay. So whatever they do across the world, across Africa, it will not stop people from being critical of them. They have to change their strategy, all right, in responding to criticisms and dissenting voices that come to social media. People have to speak, people have to talk, people have to express themselves. It's an inherent right, and you cannot suppress it all the way. At some point, they have to speak. So what we do is to ensure we rule well as governments, to be democratic in our response. And by so doing, we now silence the opposition by our good deeds. But to clamp people down, arrest them, is not the right response.
Human rights lawyer Rashid Doumbouya. We've reached out to the government for a response, but we have not yet had a reply.